field. So this is quite a big topic, and let's define the words first. So the working jazz musician, usually these few words don't put together.
Yeah, usually you never hear it together.
And strategies for success. Yeah, sometimes also what do you mean by success? Right?
Exactly, yeah.
So working musicians. I think both of us can call ourselves working musicians because we do make a living from playing music, from talking about music, from sharing music and all that. Of course, one person, wear a lot of hats. As for Asaman, he complement his income with stand-up comedy, or the other way around. I don't know. It's a symbiosis existence. So this topic is something that we like to share because we also know that there's a lot of young people who would like to go into this field and perhaps live a life as a musician. So we do have over 2 decades of experience doing that. So this sharing is about that. But if you have any questions or anything that you want to, just cut in, please do so. Really, we welcome that. So that it's becoming more like a discussion rather than just 2 guys battling away. Okay, so please. So I think he talked too much just now. Let him rest a bit. Let me start talking first. So I'm Tay Cher Siang. I'm a full-time musician. Even though a lot of time people do ask, you do that as a hobby? And I usually, if I'm in the mood, usually I will follow that line of thought and say that in the afternoon I work in a lawyer firm. I look like it, very much so. No need convincing. I play music at night. Yeah, people will usually believe me. But then when I'm talking to a lawyer, then if the lawyer plays music as well, then I will say sorry, I cannot do what you do. Because you can just, after you fight in the court, you go home and then you go to a jazz club, you can still play music. I cannot play music and then go to court and fight your case for you. But even though a lot of times I get a lot of this kind of really feel-good compliments, because one time I did a wedding event for a family. The father is a really big lawyer and the son is a doctor. And the lawyer father just pointed at me and said, you guys have been the best. Because you guys, for us, lawyer, if somebody has no problem in their life, they are not going to see me. So they run into some trouble, they need, or somebody sue them, then they go to lawyer. And usually they are not laughing. They usually, really masam muka lah. And for doctors, if you are not sick, you're not going to go see a doctor. But for us musicians, when we go work, we see happy people. We see people in the crowd, wedding, everybody happy. We go to, a cafe, everybody happy. So perhaps that's kind of the thing that I think I enjoy my work the most is that our work makes people happy. And at the same time, we are happy as well. Yeah, because I can think of another job that maybe the person who's doing it not happy, but the other side is very happy. There are many jobs like this, but we kind of have the best. So I guess in that sense, I really like to share about my work, so that perhaps we can just share that happiness. So this is my job. So then, as a working musician, a lot of time people do ask, what actually do you do? Because like playing in cafe, I'm not going to make enough, I guess. Not enough time.
And it's every single day.
True.
And you will spend a lot.
Yeah. So then sometimes you have to supplement your income with other kind of work. But for me, I chose this route. When I was young, of course I didn't know many jazz musicians at all. In my environment, I didn't know any full-time musicians except piano teachers. So when I said that I want to study music, my parents' concern was if you cannot find, you cannot make a living, don't come home. If you become a beggar, don't come and beg us, and things like that. And so that makes me have to work extra hard lah. But somehow, I find my path. I love jazz, this music that really gives me a lot of nourishment, make me very, very happy. Then at the same time, with this music, we somehow can sell this product. So for me, my main cari makan jobs would be events, weddings, product launch, company dinner, and all those sorts of jobs. So we sell our products as a package. So like our music will make your brand look really atas, and that's how we kind of do this thing. But at the same time, a lot of time, not that we don't enjoy that part of the work. Actually, I'm very blessed that I have my own band and a lot of my friends who are having similar mindset. So we really enjoy our work, playing for the audience. And somehow, if you are enjoying on stage, the audience actually enjoy it even more. This kind of, positive feedback loop is really real for me. So that's cari makan one. But at the same time, I do feel that I want to do something that is my own. Kind of there's a bit of selfishness in it. As an artist, a lot of times you want to play your own music. So I buy a lot of music that I don't make any money out of, but we get to present it in jazz clubs. And usually jazz clubs, the pay are not as high as doing events. But that part is kind of like so-called feeding our soul kind of thing. And also, having fun with your musicians' friends and explore something. And also to feed that, I guess, a little bit of egoistic thing, because that's my song. I'm playing it the way I want it. So with this kind of balance, I do call myself a working musician and a success.
Wow.
And now, Asama.
It's interesting what success meant to me, and this is being really honest with you. I actually have a Google Doc now, which is just talking about me trying to address the question, what is success to me? Because sometimes I think we have this idea that maybe what people tell you, or you have to play at Carnegie Hall, or you have to play at Dewan Philharmonic Petronas, or you have to make X amount of money, or you have to perform with certain artists or certain celebrities, or you have to play in certain bands for it to be deemed successful. And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, just what does success mean? And different than just young, I think like your family, let's say don't come back if it doesn't work out, or, My family has been very supportive of me doing music. My dad's a writer, my mom is a journalist. And so when I grew up, I was in an environment that was very creative and nurturing creativity. That being said, when you get this very nurturing creative environment, you think about the art so much and not so much about the commerce. So I am more concerned about B minor major 7 with a 9 than how much are they going to pay me for the gig yesterday or tomorrow or something. So I think for me, one of the things that I had to learn was how to figure out where to make a living, how to make a living as a musician, and how to make it sustainable. And I think the past few months have been a lot of thinking about personal finance, about retiring, and all these things that I never think for many, many years. I don't think about it, but it's something that I'm thinking a lot about. And so when I teach my students, I think especially my students that want to become professional musicians, I think nowadays, in hindsight and looking back at what I've done or my journey, I always tell them, you kind of have to figure out what you're good at, what people will pay you for, and what makes you happy. If you think about it, Because if you're good at something but no one wants to hire you, for example, I said, I want to play arpeggios for 7 hours a day. Not many people want to pay me that. Maybe for half an hour, maybe, but 7 hours probably not. So, but you could be good at something and you're trying to find the Venn diagram where what you're good at is something that's also in demand. Where who will pay you for this skill or service that you can provide, or product that you can sell. And then I think the other thing about being a musician is there are extremes of it. I call it it's like a spectrum. So on one side you have the people doing this kind of music. And those mainly rely on foundation funding, on grants. It sounds like a joke, but it's serious. You can do very artistic, ambient, textural, avant-garde music, and there is money for music like that, but usually in an artistic setting. And then on the other side, you could do my favorite example last time was ringtone music lah. Back in the early 2000s, there was a whole industry of people who sit in front of the computer and they program ringtones. The new Britney Spears song, because that's as much as your Nokia can handle. So on one side very, very commercial, on one side very artsy. And I tell my students, you want to figure out where you are in terms of your career and where you want to live. And usually if you're in the middle and slightly more commercial, there's more money to be made there. There's more. It's basically more sustainable if you realize where you are in the ecosystem of music. Otherwise, you can grow very old and become very bitter because you think, oh, people don't understand my music. My music is so advanced. They don't understand. But you can usually find them on Facebook groups. Last time we used to be in forums on websites, forums. They don't understand my music, and it's like AZ739KR Rex. I don't know you. So I don't know why people don't know you as well, So I guess that's the starting point.
So this is when you talk about the Venn diagram, right? So what you are good at, what people will pay you, and what you are happy doing. Yeah. So there's a Japanese word for that.
Ikigai.
Ikigai.
You can buy the book. I don't have the book here. Sorry. I should have let that into the book.
So finding your position is really quite important. So I guess for us, what I see him doing, all these the online courses, the everyday one post kind of thing, and everyday one newsletter kind of thing, really I have utmost respect. But it's not something that I could do, or rather also because time as a resource is limited. Yes, sir.
What about releasing your own songs?
Yes. Releasing our own songs. Yes. That's another thing also. But actually, I would say, for me, at least the way I think, is that when I write my own music, I want to perform it. And usually if I record them, I still have this very stubborn belief that I want to record my music and put them into physical album. I still do that. Even though a lot of time I get a lot of comeback is that I don't even have a CD player, not even in my car. But still, I believe in something that's physical. It's not just the music, but at the same time, it's the touch, it's the smell, it's the photograph, it's the articles inside this CD. It's a whole package of thing. And at the same time, from my own experience, because we have been having these arguments for at least 10 years inside my group. So they, one side is saying that put your music on Spotify for exposure. But I find that, at least for what I know, is that unless your song gets played 100,000 times, to get paid maybe $100 or something like that, 100,000 times for $100. But on Spotify, don't get played more than 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So pretty much you are not seeing a cent. So you spend all the cost to record the song, but put on Spotify for exposure, usually it means that you might as well take the money and throw it into the sea. That's for 99.9% of all the musicians in the world. And the figure is very scary that every day all over the world people are putting music up on Spotify. Every day there's like 500,000 hours of music worth every day to put onto the Spotify. And that figure just becomes bigger and bigger. So the thing will become 99.99%. Because a lot of the so-called success story are those people like Taylor Swift and you know, those like. So I kind of feel that I don't have to go that way. So I've been doing this, stubbornly doing this thing that I believe in. And I'm happy to report that usually still okay lah. Of course, we are not going to become millionaires selling seeds. But somehow, somewhere, I get to recoup the cost. And not to mention, actually, people owning my music, and some will come back and tell me they like this song, they like that song, and they like the photograph, they like the packaging. That to me is the biggest reward. So writing our own song, really, we do that all the time. And to find ways to push this product out is something that I suddenly, you know, guarding that part of. I even come up with vinyl, but very expensive, very expensive. That one I'll take another 50 years to recoup the cost. It's okay, I can live another 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, related to that, it's really a question, well, it's not a very serious topic. It's a question about business models. I mean, talking on Cher Siang, what Cher Siang said, basically, it's going to be very technical, I'm sorry, so in case anything too technical, just raise your hands. Basically, in terms of when you write original music, monetization, you can make money from it when you perform the music. When we perform here, we get paid by the organizer. Also, if you report that you perform your own music, there is a possibility of income with that through various bodies that collect money from the performance of live music. In terms of digital streaming platforms, yeah, you make like 0.0004 a stream or something, and only when you get 1 million streams is a few $1,000s. So for most artists, you will not be able to get that amount of streams because, and this is something I'm really I am obsessed about, kind of studying the business of music from a pop industry. They have very strategic streaming campaigns. So there's a lot of money that is being spent in order for the streams to reach a certain amount of numbers where it will become a hit on Billboard. You will get X number of streams and stuff. And it comes from playlisting, and it comes from launching it at the right day and having a whole campaign around it. We seem to have a question. Yes?
How much of it is like paid to play? Because I think now with streaming, there's so much distrust.
Yeah.
On top of all the AI shenanigans
Yeah.
happening. How much of that actually that campaign is just literally being paid for placement as opposed to marketing strategy? Extra strategy, yeah.
Yeah, so he's asking how much of it is paid to play. How much of the streaming numbers that you see online on Spotify and Apple, all these different platforms, how much of the numbers are real? So I wouldn't know, but based on what I've heard, if you are working with bigger companies, they do pay people, they call them, at least I don't know about Malaysia, I'm talking about in US, they are people that are hired, they call independent promoters, and they incentivize or make it happen that there are a number of plays within a period, during the launch period. So some of it can be argued that they're not real, but for them to sustain, it's one thing to get 10,000 streams a day, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. For them to sustain for months and months is usually, as far as I understand, it's not fake plays. After sometimes it actually becomes real. But the initial push sometimes could be manufactured in terms of the attention. This is just based on what I've been listening and researching. So if you think about that, if there are like all these fake things happening here, how are we as independent jazz musicians with so much money to spend, how do we how do we get that? So we have to figure out, we have to realize that streaming as an income is not usually viable unless sometimes, sometimes maybe one song can become more popular. Or the other one is song placement, so we call it synchronization, which means that if this music was go on Crazy Rich Asians, or my music goes on some documentary or something on Animal Planet or whatever, like Discovery Channel or something, then you get paid a certain amount of money for that licensing, and that is also a viable income source. Except that with that, you have to know the people that are the music supervisors that are looking up for those kind of songs. And those are, as far as my understanding, a lot of it is very active in Los Angeles. So usually people have people on ground, they go to parties, they meet people, and they know people from Netflix, they know people from this channel, and they are actively pitching the music to them. So if you don't have that, you can do it online, but my understanding is that it's usually more difficult without direct contacts to these music supervisors. That's the reality. So in terms of Malaysia, I mean, I've gotten my music license, I've written music for short films. You've written music for film as well, right? And you done video game as well? Have you done video game music? You did a thing, right? You did
Yeah, but I've not seen a cent, so don't count it.
So the other thing is that you can get these on how much of it can you get income, and it depends on the contracts that you sign. So I mean, realistically, a lot of these things boil down to how much you know about your rights, how good are you at reading contracts, and your understanding of in terms of royalty, rights holders, master rights, licensing. All these things are very technical things that is good to learn about, especially if you want to pursue a career.
So come back to this point just now. As also said about you need to know your position, where you are, what you are good at, things like that. I think similarly, when we come to this kind of thing, put money to promote your music. It's all about resources.
Yes.
Time is resource, money is resource, effort, everything is resources. So I guess you find your battleground and also the show up part. So Woody Allen said something about in creative field, half of the work is actually to show up.
Yeah.
So perhaps for me, I'm more in the live music scene, so that I show up a lot at places. And also, I would say that I train myself to be more thick-faced, so that I'm not malu about approaching people. I like a place, and then I just find out who's the owner, who's the manager that I can talk to, and then I just, just put out this, idea. Oh, this cafe looks so nice. You think about if there's live music in here, it will be 100 times better. And then, usually I will do things like, so give and take, but if you can give more, sometimes things will work easier. So usually the way I work is that I offer to play here, but rather to ask them for a payment that you pay me to play here. I mean, I'm asking to play here, still give me money. But rather I will offer a kind of a plan, something like, also perhaps you can sell tickets here, and then we can split the proceeds. So then the cafe owner are not taking money from his own pocket, and create some traffic into this place, and then at the same time I get to play music in this beautiful place. So that kind of way of working to me seems to be some work, some not, and some very sustainable, but some not really. Also, it comes down to, again, resources. Can I carry my keyboard still? At this age, I don't want to carry my keyboard anymore. So perhaps work out something that the venue owner are willing to work with you, and then you can create something out of nothing. So that's kind of my way of showing up. And also to do more, a lot of times I do see that people do find jazz to be very scary a lot of time. So jazz could be this very condescending music sometimes. Or some musicians, maybe they think that this music is so high up there, you should But a lot of times I do think that because what we want to do is share. If the receiving side don't understand it at all and afraid to understand, then we are doing a lousy job. So perhaps that give and take thing also, it has to be kind of in the middle. So we can have an educating concert, but at the same time, okay, listen to this. This is something that's more difficult, but maybe listen with an open mind and see if you like it or not. But then other songs will be something that's more easily accessible. So that way we can create a following that kind of know your style, that at the same time are not afraid to try. So I find that to be a sustainable way to create an audience. Actually, at the end of the day, they are all my friends. And we become friends, very good friends, and I'm very thankful to them for being supportive. And a lot of times I even go to their businesses, their work, and find out what good they do. So at the end of the day, I see music as something that is very human connection kind of thing. So it's not on the social media, you sucks, but rather in front of a person. We cannot be mean. We are nice. So I guess to me the biggest reward that I get is all these human connections that I get to create and get to sustain all these years.
And I agree 100%. Like, for me, there's always a thought, people always say, you have to network, and it's true, but I find that a lot of it in the music industry especially is actually building genuine relationships. Like, you actually are trying to connect with people in a real way. And of course, sometimes it does become business transactions or like collaborations in some kind of way. But it's really about connecting with people. And especially like even this event, we did this last year and we were talking on a different topic. And if you want to catch any of the bands that come here today, like separately, it will be very difficult to catch these bands all in one place. So this is really a kind of a community event where you can meet so many musicians and watch so many different styles of jazz in one place. It's very, very powerful. And talking beyond the meeting people in real life, I'm a huge proponent in terms of using social media. And for me, the main thing is you can reach to people that have no idea who you are, at least the potential of it. Maybe I put one really bad joke on Instagram, and then 10,000 people that don't know me, they laugh. And about 300 of them are confused and unfollow. But there's still 9,700 net positive. It's still very good. So, and I think that last time, right, you have to go to, if you write a song, you have to go to radio. I mean, he has a radio show, by the way. Tay Cher Siang is very resourceful, has a radio show as well. So in traditional, you have to go to traditional media, you have to go to TV, to radio, to print media. Like I said, my mom was, both my parents were journalists, so I have exposure of that kind of world. But on social media, you can go directly to people who might like your music. And sometimes it's very powerful. I'll tell you the story. One time I got an email from this guy who lived in Christmas Island. And I have no clue where Christmas Island is. I was wondering, is there a Hari Raya Island? Is there a Chinese New Year Island? Apparently there's a Christmas Island. And this guy found me online because he found my material and my website. And he wanted to take lessons with me. And he was looking for a guitar camp to study. But that time was already in fall. So guitar camps and music camps happen during the summer. And he found me, and he's in Christmas Island, which is an Australian territory. He wanted to take lessons with me for 2 weeks. So sight unseen, never seen me, PayPal me a whole bunch of money before he came here. And legit, wasn't scammed. He arrived here, and I think every day, Monday to Friday for 2 weeks, he took guitar lessons with me. After that, he go to Bangsa, go for massage. And then at night, a few days in the 2 weeks, he went for my show, went for my open mic, and hang out with me. So that was, if not for online presence, that wouldn't happen. So, and things like I have had repeated experiences like that over the years. I think last year I had I think 3 or 4 companies send me guitars. 2 companies from China send me guitars for me to do content. Another company sent me a case there for me to do content. The software padded case is an American company. So if not for my content online, all these people might not approach me because there's so many guitarists in the world. I don't know whether you know that. There's a lot of guitar players out there. And if you know any of them want to take guitar lessons, they can send me.
Sorry, I'm sure you also want to ask that question. Can guy come and learn?
I want to go back to my island and play my music there.
Yeah,
Christmas songs.
because fall, so like 2 weeks prepare and then practice a bit. Christmas come can play.
You know what I got? I recently got a school teacher. She's about to retire. She messaged me on Facebook and she said she wants to play for the Teachers' Day next year. She's about to retire, so she wants to surprise the students. So she bought my voices. I was like, wow, I still want to learn. And it's like I think stories like this are very kind of inspiring because you don't know who you're going to reach out to. But no, he didn't learn Christmas songs. I think he was just learning. I think just different pop songs and rock songs and like some improvisation as well.
Maybe he born there, he already have all the Christmas songs.
I think so. He was very well prepared.
Okay, so next, about discipline. So musicians really, maybe lay person's imagination. Musicians must be like, play until 2 o'clock in the morning and party until 5 and then go back to sleep, wake up at 2 in the afternoon. But that's really the furthest from the truth.
Yeah.
All the respected musicians that I know are very disciplined people. And many of them, I guess maybe it's also generation.
Yeah,
I do see that there's a generation difference. So the last generation do that, next generation usually we don't want to do that. And then the next generation do what the 2 generations before do, things like that. So I think for my generation, a lot of my generation musicians are very disciplined people. And many have family, very healthy kind of personality. So discipline, I do think that play into our work ethic very much. So no matter how late we finish a gig, tomorrow still 6 o'clock have to wake up, have to send kids to school, things like that. So I think that kind of thing, and also at the same time, again, back to the resources. Everybody's time is precious. So whenever we have a gig that we need to prepare, we need to rehearse. The scariest thing that I always feel is I don't prepare well enough. Let's say the music arrangements, the charts, not prepare well enough, so that I'm wasting everybody's time. That's something that I dread. So always I will do my best to prepare everything so that everybody coming, we just go through the songs very quickly. 1 hour, we can prepare 3 hours worth of work, and then everybody go do your things more importantly. So things like that, I think time management is a very important skill that I slowly learn along the way, and I can say that perhaps now I'm quite, tap my own shoulder. Yeah, you are doing it. Wow.
Very good managing time.
I'm not sure though, because in order to put out all this content, I can't imagine how much time you have to put in editing the videos, to prepare the contents.
Yeah, that's the kind. I think it's a matter of, like you said, it's a matter of resources. And I think a lot of it, when you become a working musician, you want to become a professional musician, a lot of it is understanding your personality. So Cher Siang is like, he is very efficient. In my world, I look at him, in my eyes, like Cher Siang is very efficient in terms of coming for sound check and then finishing sound check and doing the show and leaving after the show. And he knows how to manage his resources and his energy, I feel. And I think for me, I do enjoy doing the content online. I do enjoy posting videos. I like writing. I like doing videos. And I think over time, when you do a lot of these things again, and if you're genuinely interested in it, you become better at doing these things. You know, if you like want to write, I went to this thing. What's it called? Video creators. Video content creators. We went to this event. It's called Video Content Creators. It's like basically
Video Creators Connect.
Video Creators Connect. It's a new kind of a group of people. They are YouTubers. When I say YouTubers, I don't mean they're like 18-year-old girl kind of thing. This is like uncle and older auntie and like younger person and like all sorts of demographic. It's not like one kind of thing. And we all just met up and based on this interest and hopefully to build a community. So I think it's very similar. And a lot of the content stuff, is about doing it efficiently and knowing that not to be attached to the results. I think sometimes everyone here can relate. You post a picture or video online, you thought like everyone's gonna like this video is so good. Then 10 views, 1 like, and it's just yourself liking it. So, you have a question.
How do you see music marketing with social media in the next 5 to 10 years? Because I think like right now there's a lot of pessimism because like musicians have to spend more time on TikTok than they actually get to practice and actually do what they want to do, and lots of musicians are getting burnt out. How do you see it developing in the next 5 to 10 years?
And it's very true. A lot. You were saying, where do I see where do we see in terms of musicians using social media in terms of marketing and stuff. It's all, again, I think it goes back to what Cher Siang said. It's a matter of resources. So for people who are willing to work and get some budget or some kind of a location of money to hire people to do the editing for you, to help write stuff for you, help create graphics for you. If you can hire people, I think that is going to become more common for even not necessarily super famous people. I think more people are going to do that. Also because of AI now.
I guess the issue is that record labels are now offloading the marketing work to the artists.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And like they're scraping more money, but they're giving less and less to musicians.
Yeah. In terms of, I think on the label side, right, like, because I have talked to label people and stuff like that, there is less and less of artist development happening. Artist development means you come in for anyone not in the music industry. It's basically, let's say I'm a guitarist, right? And then they say, wow, this guitar is very good. But before they debut you, like K-pop artists and they debut, right? Traditionally, they'll spend 1 to 4 years figuring out what clothes should this person wear, what kind of hairstyle should he have, what kind of language should he do, what kind of content should it be, what kind of language, what kind of words, what kind of colors, and all these things. And this used to be the job of the record company to find an artist and develop them. But nowadays it's like someone's big on TikTok, already got 1 million followers. Like, let's take this person, already famous, got some songs going viral, and they build on that, and that's becoming more and more common. And so I think a lot of it is about being honest about what kind of music you create and the actual total addressable market that exists. If you play metal, how many metal fans in Malaysia if you're targeting Malaysia?
5 fans.
5 of you. Yeah, we all know each other. So, so in jazz, how big is the market? I mean, this is a great day. If you're just purely from a analyst perspective, you come here and you look at the audience, this is our audience, this is our demographic. If you wanted to study it from a business perspective. And so, what will happen on social media? I think more and more people are just going to use AI stuff. This is not just a show, it will be better. I think within the next year, the content will be better. And it's always that the early adopters for technology is really bad because graphics really bad. Everyone's going to be a talking orangutan for a while. After that, will be, you guys know about the talking orangutan right now. No one watches the end of stuff. They make like animated talking orangutan doing vlogs and stuff. Okay, I'm the only one consuming AI content. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. So honestly, now I think people are just going to become more resourceful. I think the ones who survive are going to become resourceful and complain less or hire people. That's just how it's going to be. And it's hard and it's boring, but that's why a lot of, even our friends, we have a lot of friends, I'm sure you and me, that are no longer doing music. Because they're probably in advertising. I have friends that are in advertising agencies. I have musician friends, a drummer that's now a lawyer. I have musician friends who are now, I know one person who's a dog walker. And so all these things, and fashion designer, there are all these other, I think, industries that are easier to make a living. So it's hard to make a living as a musician. It's just plain hard. It's very difficult, no matter what business model you choose. So I think in order to survive, you kind of have to just not complain and figure it out. I think that's what's going to happen for people who keep doing it. Yeah.
From my experience touring in China, or working in Taiwan a bit, and studying in America, I kind of see our music scene comparatively less competitive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of room
Yes.
to find your niche.
Yes.
The niche are not filled up yet. Seemingly do less work, but as long as you are willing to work,
Yes.
you can kind of Charlie market. So that's a bit of our scene, is that it is in that Goldilocks zone now. You are not going to make it big in like Taylor Swift, that kind of thing. But if you are willing to do the work, you can be kind of in that middle ground, and not until like totally off. But of course, if you choose to play, I guess, I don't know, music. Hey, there's a scene. Don't play
I know.
There's a scene there.
There's a bunch of venues.
Yeah, I'm like tabe, but it's not something that I can do lah. So yeah, so in a sense, in Malaysia, doing music is still quite a doable thing to me. I feel by comparing different scenes.
Yeah.
But not to say that, let's say in China, I've met a guy who really good at classical guitar, and he came from a small town in China. And how I met him was I went there to give a talk, and he was kind of like my driver. So we talk, on this long journey and stuff. And he said, when I finish my study, I'm going to go back to my hometown because he has a family, and I'm going to drive taxi. Really? And he said, no, I'm happy that way. I get to learn what I want to learn, I get to enjoy what I get to enjoy, and it's time to be an adult and go and make a living. But then when he has time, he started playing. That kind of story kind of made me kind of like, wow, how lucky we are in a sense. But at the same time also make me feel that, okay, there's more work to be done here. So even though kind of comparatively comfortable, but there's so much more room to grow. And also there's not a lot of baggage, I feel, for us. Because I think, like, let's say if I'm in New York, I'm a jazz musician, I want to be in New York. A lot of time is actually, the New York thing is that there's a lot of very set scene. You either play that kind of music and hang out with that bunch of people, or you just don't make it. You try to play many different things, forget about it. But in Malaysia, it seems like you want to play anything, you just play. Nobody come and criticize you. Or you play jazz, cannot play pop. But for us, we want to play anything we want, and kind of remake what jazz is in Malaysia. So with that kind of rooms for us to just do what we like, I don't think that we are just so blessed, and there's so much things that we get to be done.
Yeah, I mean, in Malaysia, we basically everything can up, which is everything can up means that it's like there's so many possibilities as long as the musician wants to look out for those opportunities. I always tell my students, I said, you want to like what you said, when you go to a cafe, like there's no music there, you propose to do music there or use it as a venue. And I find that there's always a lot of opportunity for unconventional venues for music performances or art events. And those tend to be very interesting because you don't expect the space to be a live music space or some kind of performance or festival space. We have a lot of interesting spaces. And in terms of opportunities, I think as a musician, you want to create I believe that a lot of you want to create the opportunities. And it's hard if you're like, I'm very introverted. I know I'm talking a lot right now, but as soon as I get off stage, I'll be very quiet. No, it's true. You know, because he knows me. He took a flight all the way to Hawaii to listen to me tell a bad joke. So that's a long flight. So, but the idea, I think, in Malaysia, because we don't have a fully developed ecosystem, or like not systematic enough as it is maybe in Europe or in US and something like that. We don't have what don't we have? We don't really have a proper touring circuit, right? An established touring circuit. We don't have, like, you know, it's like if we wanted to perform as a duo, we would need to find places to play based on my list, based on your list, based on the friends we know. We cannot just plug and play. Oh, Kedah we play here, Ipoh we play here, this one. But in US there are established circuits where you could go to someone who will just say, okay, how many cities you want to play, how long you want to go, we'll try to book you for these venues. We don't have that here yet because it's a smaller scene. But because of that, there's not a lot of rules, which means that you can do that as long as you're resourceful or if you have a budget or connections for it. It's possible. I agree with you with that.
So with that, how I see those bands try to make the circuit, and then they play from one town to another, I thought we should try to do that in Malaysia. Which sometimes, so when we have maybe a stretch of free time, we will try to book places. And just like I said, in Malaysia there's no system to do that. So for me, the possibilities is always, you know, limitless. So we actually try to play even in like Kopitiam. We try to play in pasar. So it all depends on whether you are willing or not. So a lot of times, of course, you know, all these are about resources. So you don't have the budget to go. So for us is that actually no budget. So we tell the locals, the local organizers, they are willing to do, then please, you know, sell as many as possible. But we don't want you to lose money. So the Chinese saying is, the business to kill people exists. The business to lose money never exists. so if the organizer is willing to take the effort, the trouble to actually organize something, I don't want him to have to take money out of his pocket. So we take the risk. But I find that when we have this kind of understanding, a lot of times they will try their best to really push it, and somehow we can make even, break even, and this kind of thing. And not to mention a lot of memories, a lot of connections with many places, Pekananas or Ulai, or places like crazy places. so like God make, but God. So we just make it happen.
Yeah, and also I think like I think some people don't realize that there is a lot of funding available actually in terms of music and stuff. But maybe it's not funding for music, but there is a lot of funding available. But it's a matter of figuring out who can you collaborate with, who can you partner with, where they are willing to invest in a music project or in a performance. I mean, like this festival, I mean, this one came about from, did it start from the shows here at the cafe? And then after that, you did an online performance thing?
Yeah.
So even this festival is an example of something that organically grew with Cher Siang booking bands playing here at the cafe, over time a larger online event, and to this event today. So I feel that it's good to think of the possibilities, and just like what you do, like you just go like, you say like go to Kulai, Pekananas. Yeah, so you can say that, like, I want to be a jazz musician, I'm going to do a show in Pekananas, I have no idea what that is, but I believe that if you look out for those opportunities and you create those and you find, it's always very interesting from a friendship or just like building actual relationships. It's just that as you get older and you have to pay bills and you have kids and you have housing loans and stuff, you have to really measure how many of these more experimental, creative decisions you want to make in terms of your career. So it's always a matter of figuring out what to do when and how much can you do it. Which again I admire.
Oh, thank you. Because really, that's true. Before, when our kids are younger, me and my band members, we can just go, no problem. Now, have to send kids, have to pick them up from school, very difficult, very difficult. But still, we will find maybe some school holiday. Let's go, to relive our youth.
Relive our youth. Yeah, and I think the one thing I do actually, and this is not conventional. Typical musician will be, if they go on tour, right? They're trying to maximize the tour and play like 5 shows in 5 nights and then come back because you're trying to maximize it. Not really maximize, you're trying to optimize it for income. But what we've done in the past is we actually extend it into a holiday. So you go there, we do the work, and then we stay there a few days. Because otherwise, for example, I'm going to Alustar. Anyone have friends or family in Alustar? Okay, I'm going to be in a guitar shop at Boy Music in Alustar on the 16th, right? On 16th of August. So if you know people in Alustar, tell them I'm going to be there. And that's in collaboration with Yamaha. So they're actually flying me there, and I get to meet the musicians in Alustar, which is great, because I've never been to Alustar for work. Actually, I've never been there for pleasure either. And since I've never been there, I'm going to extend a bit and explore what is in Alustar. So I think, as a creative person, it's not necessarily work. Doesn't really it's not very clearly defined. It could be work, but after that, you also bring your family on the trip, and then some family time. And there's always these things that kind of bleed into each other. And I think realistically, over time, as you have a family or as you grow older, you're trying to find a kind of harmony in how you live. Not like work, especially for creative field, I think it's very hard. Everything bleeds into each other.
So I think our sharing pretty much kind of covered a lot of topics that I want to talk about. Any questions before we end?